fancy a really nice all-rounder that'll still play well on the roads, Aspero is a surprisingly good value aspirational choice. My name's Guy Kesteven. I've been professionally reviewing bikes for over 25 years. And today, I'm riding the brand new Cervelo Aspero Apex Explorer Axis on a bit of a Roubaix style mixed terrain ride. Should be exactly what this bike is designed for. So, this is the basically more affordable, more all-rounder bike of the Aspero pair. There's still the Aspero 5, which is the fully aero, super stiff race option. But this Aspero has increased bottom bracket stiffness, so it's still raceable, and interestingly, unlike pretty much everyone else, they haven't slackened out the steering. Still got 72-degree head angle on this bike, which is, you know, that's steeper than a lot of road bikes these days. But it does have a little flip chip in the fork, so you can adjust the trail so that either gives you more stable or more rapid handling, but it does it whichever wheel size it is. But the idea is you can also run a 650B tyre and get the same geometry as if you're running 700. And for the record, I'm on 700s, and it's a 40mm WTB tyre in here, set up tubeless on fast forward alloy wheels. And considering the name on the down tube, the prestige that Cervelo brings, in fact you've got the new wireless axis group on, it's pretty good value at 3,800 quid here in the UK. I mean, obviously you can go cheaper than that with other brands, but hopefully this will prove it's got the right quality to make it worth that little bit of extra, whoa, investment, not just for the name. As well as those binary fork tips, given the two different offsets, you've got a much slimmer down tube now than the previous bike. You've got a more sloped top tube. You've got bolts for a fuel tank. You've got the same D-shaped steerer for integrated control routing as you have on the Soloist and the R5CX. So you've got a really clean front end on this bike, even though it's not, you know, massively aero like the Aspero 5. And moving back, Beasley's going to be delighted. So that's a Cervelo B Bright T47. So they've gone threaded on the BB. And they've also brought both chain stays. So there's over 7mm clearance, even with a 42mm tyre in there, or plenty of space, even with a 48mm. So obviously tyres are getting bigger on all gravel bikes now, but they specifically mentioned Unbound 23 and the Mudfest there as a reason for opening up that back end. And this is where that extra mud clearance really comes into its own. Conditions like this, which are a few in the UK at the moment, is what we call summer Oh, hello. Okay. Wait. To be fair, considering the exposure's basically a big fat road tyre, fit pretty well through there. So I'm running at insurance pressures, but it's 40 psi rather than my normal 30, because there's some fast and rocky stuff coming up. But I'm going to go ride a bit further before I talk about the ride vibe on this. So far, very impressed with the smoothness. And that smoothness is really obvious when you're transitioning from a road section onto something rougher. Ah, shit, Andy! Oh, it's getting like that, is it? It was. On my heel. Yeah, that was my front tyre. So not only have you got relatively slim fork tips, but you've also got dropped rear stays at the back for that extra mud clearance, and dropped slimmer seat stays. Plus, while they've stiffened the bottom bracket up over the previous Aspero, they've deliberately reduced head tube stiffness. And I have to say, considering the tyre size and the pressures in them, I am so far really impressed by how smoothly this bike is riding, even on faster, rougher sections like that. And while it hasn't got the aero down tube like the Aspero 5, slim fork legs and that pretty much full wheel wrap on the rear, those tucked in control cables, means it still feels pretty rapid on the road as well. And even though it might not be future proofed right up to taking 50mm tyres, you have got a UDH hanger at the rear. Unsurprisingly, that 72-degree head angle isn't as stable down sections like that as a slacker bike like the Stig, but it is compatible with the dropper post. It is a 27.2mm round post on there. If you do want a dropper in there, Axis or otherwise, the Aspero's all ready for it. But those tyre angles do give you much more of a road bike feel on the tarmac. So if you want a gravel bike that can also play as a crit racer, the Aspero's got you. And at 1150 grams for the frame, certainly not the lightest option out there. It's 150 grams heavier than the Aspero 5. But even with this heavy Apex Axis group on here, full bike with fuel tank, all right, comes in under 9 kilos. And more importantly, it feels nice and sprightly and responsive on the climbs. And that's with alloy wheels on, remember. So in a lot of ways, in terms of handling and a bit of aero and just the way it feels, it's basically a fat tired road bike, but with the capability to come out and do stuff like this. You know, I really don't have an issue. Maybe not today. Oh, it's tempting. Well, that compliance means you can still have fun on the single track on it. Although the steering does make it harder to stay in the rut. More twitching about than that stick that Ryan's on. And while you could certainly pay less for a bike with a similar spec in terms of gears and brakes, wheels and tyres, what I really like on this Aspero is you still get a really nice carbon bar. You get proper quality bar tape. Yeah. Morning! Hi, Jill! Alright. You get a really nice quality carbon post and a really good quality Pro Logo NAC saddle, which looks unspeakably uncomfortable but actually rides really, really well. So in terms of contact points, which is really what matters to ride quality, it's a really good setup. Plus, apart from the extra weight, it's impossible to tell apex axis apart from any of the other axis systems, because the motors, the shifters, even the lever shape now, basically identical. So it's just the materials that add the mass. Oh, and you know, you can't get a power meter for this either. But apart from that, ride's great. And another part of that road all-rounder feel is that you can run 46 tooth chainring on there now, or up to a 52 with a double, because it does come in. It has got a bolt-on front neck mount if you need that as well, and you can get a Shimano 820 version with a twin ring, or a GRX 610 with a twin ring as well. So what do I think about this Aspero overall? I think this model is definitely a sweet spot. It's apex axis with all the finishing kit, gives you that full wireless functionality, but still with that aspirational Aspero contact point and frame feel, which is what you're paying the extra for. That's definitely some aspects that might put folk off. I mean, the handling's definitely quick for a modern gravel bike, but if you're mixing a lot of road miles in, or you just like a faster handling bike, then you'll like that. But you know, it's certainly no gravel two-wheel drifter like the Santa Cruz Stig is. And they've still stuck to that haul ass not cargo mantra, so you don't get a bunch of bike packing fixtures. And while it has opened up the tyre clearance a lot, it's not compatible with all the biggest tyres either. So, you know, they're definitely not putting it in that adventurer category. But then that's where the Stig lives now, to be fair, in that whole Pond Hub family. And also, I think they're missing a trick by not having at least fender mounts on here, even if they're not going to put a rear rack on or other bike packing stuff, because I'd happily run this as a winter road bike. But then I guess that's the whole point of the Caledonia. But you know, it's already a frame weighs over 1 kilo, so a couple more studs for fenders aren't going to make much of a difference, and it would really open up the day-to-day versatility of this bike. But if I had to sum up one reason to buy this Aspero in terms of ride feel, it's just got a really nice glide between gears. whether you're upshifting or downshifting. It's got a really nice speed sustain, just rolls over, keeps that pace, whether you're climbing or just cruising. Thanks for tyre buzzing me, John T. Most importantly, it's been an absolutely grand ride for this sort of mixed surface, mixed group adventure. So, big thanks to Cervelo for the loan of the bike for testing. Massive thanks to my regular channel sponsors that'll be listed at the end. Big thanks as always to my Patreon subscribers who pledge on a monthly basis and they get early, extended, ad-free edits as a thank you. And if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe, click for notifications, give it a thumbs up, like, tell your mates about it. So I've got a lot more gravel bikes lined up, as well as the usual cross-country and trail mountain bikes and the kit to go with them. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven on Guy Kest TV, getting in the mood for Roubaix on the new Cervelo Aspero. I'm changing gear. There.